Well, I think this is very interesting that Ben Wallace has now put himself on the side of the ECHR skeptics, so people like Suella Braverman. He's saying in the interview that the approach Dominic Raab was taking, Dominic Raab, every time he was Justice Secretary, wanted to bring forward a thing called the British Bill of Rights, and every time Dominic Raab stopped being Justice Secretary, that was dropped by the government, and Alex Chalk has dropped it, current Justice Secretary. But Ben Wallace is saying there's real problems that the ECHR is putting the UK at risk by preventing us from tackling terrorism properly and dealing with terror suspects. So it's really interesting whether this becomes quite a big Ben Wallace theme, because we're all expecting a bit of an argument within the Conservative Party in the run-up potentially to the next election as to whether leaving the European Convention on Human Rights and therefore removing ourselves from the jurisdiction of the European Court of Human Rights in Strasbourg is going to be something the Conservatives promise. We've heard of it before in the context of impeding the government's immigration policy, but this is a sort of, if you like, a new angle opening up, though we know Theresa May ran into problems, I think, when she was trying to deport Abu Qatada, is that right, Abu Qatada, before, and found a way round to enable her to deport him to Jordan. So I think this will be very, very, very unwelcome news in number 10, because Ben Wallace, before he stood down, regularly topped those Conservative home polls as highest ranked cabinet minister. So he's got quite a lot of clout if he decides to make this a big scheme. It seems to me that rather more constructively, a lot of the Conservative critique of the European Convention on Human Rights, which it's very difficult for us to leave. It's in the Good Friday Agreement. It would trigger lots of problems in the trade and cooperation agreement with the EU if we did leave that and put us in a sort of category with Russia and Belarus, who aren't ideal countries to be in the same category as. Seems to me that actually a more productive approach might be to say, actually, don't we collectively in the Council of Europe need to look again at the European Convention, which was written for the circumstances of the early 1950s, not for the circumstances of the mid-2020s, and try and suggest a more international effort to deal with some of these issues which aren't unique to the UK.